Hello and welcome to the lecture series on power electronics 2. In today's lecture, we would be looking into another type of isolated DC to DC converter, which is called the forward converter. The advantages associated with an isolated DC to DC converter has been discussed in the previous lecture when we were discussing the flyback converter. So all the advantages that are associated in an isolated DC to DC converter holds good for forward converter also. So let's see the circuit for the forward converter. This is the forward converter. We have got the special transformer, okay, which is the high frequency transformer. In addition to the two windings, we have another winding here in the forward converter, and this is basically used to demagnetize the core of the high frequency transformer when the switch is turned off. So basically it provides an alternate path for the current through the inductor to fall to zero, okay, inductor or transformer to fall to zero, okay. So again, since we have got only one switch in this converter, so the number of modes of operation would be naturally be 2. So in mode 1 the switch will be turned on, and in mode 2 the switch is turned off, okay. So let us study this converter by taking up the two modes of operation. We take the first mode, the mode 1. In mode 1 the switch SW is on. Again, the assumptions that we will be making in this converter is the same as that we have been doing in the previous analysis, and that is all the elements of the circuit are assumed to be ideal, and there is no loss in the switch as such, neither conduction nor the turn on or turn off loss, and moreover the inductor and the capacitor are also ideal, and there is no again, and the source is also an ideal source, okay. One more assumption is the output voltage is assumed to be constant, and it is equal to V naught. The high value of the capacitor ensures that the output voltage is constant. So now let us try to analyze this circuit. So when switch SW is turned on, in that case, so let me draw this circuit. So I will be joining this switch here. SW is on now. So when SW is on, then the polarity here would be like this, and this would cause a polarity like this here also. That means the diode is reverse biased and it won't be conducting in this mode. So let me remove the diode from here in mode 1. Similarly, when we come to the secondary side, in this case the diode D1 would be conducting while D2 would be reverse biased. So let me remove D2 from here in mode 1. So this is the equivalent circuit in mode 1. Let us try to write down the various equations. So V1, which is the primary side voltage of the transformer. So V1 is equal to, if I apply KVL in this loop, so we could see that V1 is equal to V in, okay. Similarly, V2, which is the voltage appearing at the secondary winding of the transformer, it would be related to V in by this relation. So V2 by V1 will be N2 by N1, where N1 and N2 are the winding ratios, okay, in 1 and 2 respectively, okay. What about V3? So V3, this is V3, and V3 could be given by, in terms of V1, it would be N3 by N1. Moreover, yes, now since V1 is equal to V in, that means I can write V2 as V in times N2 by N1, and similarly this can be written as V in N2 by N1. Okay, what would be the voltage appearing across the diode D3? It is turned off. So if I apply KVL in this loop, okay, in this loop, so you could see that VD3 would be given by minus V in minus V3. So here, from here also you could conclude that the diode is reverse bias and it won't be conducting in mode 1. Okay. So these are some of the equations of mode 1. Now let me write down the equation for the secondary side, and let me first write down the voltage appearing across the inductor Lx. So Vlx is given by Lx di Lx by dt, and this is equal to V2 minus VO. Okay, because diode D1 is conducting, so the voltage that will be appearing across the left side of Lx would be V2, while the voltage on the right side of Lx would be V0. So I have written here, and V2 we have already derived it here, so it is V in times N2 by N1 minus V0. Okay. Now let us take another mode 2. So in mode 2, what happens? Now switch SW is no longer conducting, it is open circuited now, and now the current would be forced through diode D3 and it will start conducting, and on the secondary side the diode D1 will turn off and diode D2 will start conducting, because this current Lx has to flow through D2. Okay. So in mode 1, switch was on and D3 is off and D2 is off and D1 is on. So in mode 1 this was the condition. In mode 2, SW is off now, so this will force D3 to turn on. D3 is on, while the diode D1 becomes off and D2 is on. Okay, fine. So if again I try to write down the various equation for mode 2, so this relation V2 equals to V1 N2 by N1 will hold good for both the cases. Okay, although in this case V1 will not be equal to V in, isn't it? So let us see. So let me first try to find out the voltage that will be appearing across the inductor Lx. So that is quite important. So V Lx is again Lx di Lx by dt, and that will be equal to, if I apply KVL in this loop, I could see that this is equal to minus of V0. Okay. Fine. Okay, actually I am interested in finding out the relation between the input and the output voltage in case of a forward converter. So I do have got the expression for the voltage that will be appearing across the inductor Lx, and let me use it to obtain a relation between input and output voltage. Okay, so let me do it here. If I apply the volt second balance across Lx, then in mode 1 the output voltage, the voltage across inductor is V in times N2 by N1 minus V naught, and this is for dt duration, plus now it is minus V naught, and this is for 1 minus dt duration, and the sum of the two has to come to 0. Okay, so let me open up the brackets. V in N2 by N1 times d, and I can cancel t on remove it, so this minus V naught d, and this would result in minus V naught plus V naught d, and this is equal to 0. These two terms gets cancelled, so finally I will get VO by V in is equal to VO by V in will be equal to N2 by N1 times D. So you could see here that basically a forward converter is a type of buck converter with an additional term of N2 by N1 present here. Okay, and normally N2 by N1 ratio is taken as 1. Okay, so we have got a buck converter operating in isolated mode. That means there is magnetic isolation between the input side as well as the output side. Okay, is it fine? Let us now look into the various waveforms that we will get in case of a forward converter. Let me draw the waveform for ILX. So ILX, it starts from some minimum value ILX min, and it reaches a maximum value ILX max, and the increase is linear, because you could see from the expression in mode 1 this mode is from 0 to dt. Okay, and mode 2 is from dt to t. So from 0 to dt the output voltage is given by this, and Lx d ILX by dt is this much, and each of the quantities here are positive. So that means d ILX by dt is a positive quantity. That means there is a linear increase in the current through the inductor Lx. So that has been shown here. The slope of this line can easily be found out. It would be V in N2 by N1 minus V naught, and whole thing divided by Lx. So this is the slope, while from dt to t the slope is negative. It could be seen here. Okay, so this slope is minus V naught by Lx. Now come to ILM. ILM is the current through this magnetizing inductance, and since we are demagnetizing the core fully, so that means the current has to go to 0 during one cycle. So it is reaching 0 here somewhere, say at time t0. Okay, so it is increasing linearly, and we can actually see that it is increasing linearly. So let me just write the relation here. So in mode 1 Lm dilm by dt is equal to, you could see here that it is equal to V in, is it? It is equal to V in. So that means there is a linear increase in the current waveform. It is Ln by Lm. Similarly, in from interval dt to t naught, it is linearly decreasing. How? Because Lm, this is in mode 1, in M1, and Lm di Lm by dt will be equal to, in mode 2 it is equal to, so when this is not conducting, okay, so this is again equal to V1, and V1 can be obtained from here, you could see. So V1 is equal to N1 V2 by N2. Fine. And what about V2? What about V2? So how to find out V2? So let's see. Actually, we can find out V1 from V3, okay, because V3 is known, V2 is not known, because the voltage across the diode is not known, so we cannot find out V2. So, but we can find out V1 in terms of V3, okay. So V1 is equal to V3 times this much, N3 by N1, and V3, if I apply KVL in this loop, when in the second mode, when diode is when the switch is off, so that is minus V in, so N3 by N1. So you could see here that it is a negative quantity, okay, and if I put this value here, so that will give me the slope of this line as minus V in N3 by N1 and divided by Lm, okay. Similarly, I have shown the current I1. I1 is the current that is flowing in the primary of the transformer, high frequency transformer, and when switch is conducting, then basically let me use some space, let me make some space here, okay. So when switch is conducting, then in that case ILM plus I1 is equal to I in, the input current, okay. While when the switch is off, this is in mode 1, when switch is off, ILM is equal to minus of I1, this is in mode 2, okay. Okay, fine. So let me come to I1 first. So in this case, in interval from dt to t naught, you could see from here that I1 is minus of ILM. So ILM is this, so minus of that would give you this, okay. And from here I1 is equal to I in minus ILM, okay. Is it fine? I in minus ILM. Okay, wait just a minute. So to find out I1, we already know ILM in mode 1. We need to know what is I in. So you see, when this diode was conducting in mode 1, the current that is flowing I2, and this diode was not conducting, that means I2 was same as ILX, Okay. I2 was same as ILX. So such type of waveform would be flowing as the input current also, because the current in the secondary of the transformer is basically a reflection of what is flowing in the primary. So that means IN is something like this. Okay, this is IN. Let me represent by capital I, no issue. And if I subtract from this ILM, I will get this type of waveform. So which is I1. Okay. So let us now see the current flowing through I2. Okay, no, this is not for I2, it is actually for I3. Okay, so when switch is on, diode D3 was not conducting, no current was flowing through I3, but when switch is turned off, then current starts flowing through I3, and that will be given by it is actually we can write it down, it is minus of Vn, so that means it would be linearly decreasing. Okay. Now come to Vx, the voltage across the diode here, D2. So when in mode 1, when it was not conducting, so in that case this would be equal to V2. V2 is this V1 times N2 by N1. So that means the magnitude is Vin times N2 by N1 that I have drawn, then it is 0. And this waveform, blue waveform, is basically the voltage across the switch. So when it was conducting, no voltage was appearing across the switch, and then from interval dt to t naught, okay, when switch was off but LM was conducting, that means current was flowing through LM. So in that situation, the voltage that will be appearing across the switch is given by V in 1 plus N1 plus N1 by N3. And similarly, when the current stops flowing through LM, then the voltage that would be appearing across the switch would be V in. Okay. So this is a description about the various waveforms that are associated with a forward converter. So I hope you liked the lecture. Thank you for watching.